So this is our week 10. So we are very fastly moving towards something towards the end, and this is our week 10. And today we have to start something very interesting, very important, which is HTML forms. And these forms, they are so very important. You know that when you talk about a web application, forms are one of the most important integral part of those forms. And you know that if you have forms, you can always take. I'll talk about those forms in a little deeper detail. So where do you see forms? If I just quickly go to Seneca, for example, you see here we have got this one. Okay, so this is forbidden over here. Sometimes it does not give me. Okay. Right. So let me just show it to you. Do you see any forms here on this page? Yes, one form that you quickly can find out, this search form. You see here that there is some form given over here where I can write something. For example, I can write web222 and I can press this search button, and it might come up with some of these search suggestions, web22 subject course outline or something like that. Anyhow, so what is that? Basically, it is a form over there. And there is a form that you usually use daily basis when you go to the My Seneca somewhere and you go to the login. Have you seen that this login, this basically is using this form and it directly logs me in? Why? Because I have just given that one. But anyhow, you know that you can always, if I just sign out from here, and you see through here, go to login page. Okay, login, and now it should ask. But again, if it has my credentials here not showing it, no problems. Now, so we see that there are lots of places where you find forms, and forms are very important part of all the websites. You need to put in the data. Someone wants to take input from the user, someone wants to take feedback from the user. We have got the forms. We need to have the forms. Someone wants to do something at all, we have got these forms available. So now let's talk about these forms a little bit. Up to this point, most of our web pages have been read only. Right now, till now, what we have done is mostly the read only pages we have done. From the point of view of a user, users could read, review, watch, or listen to the content of the page and maybe interact with JavaScript events or CSS. However, we haven't given our users a way to share data with us. We have not given our users to share data with us, this facility of sharing data. What does that mean? Your user cannot share anything with you, like by inputting it into some box or something like that. So for doing that, what is that? HTML provides a mechanism to overcome this problem using forms. We have forms in HTML. Forms provide basic users a method of entering data on a web page. This data could be used directly in the page, change display option, or could be sent to a web server, logging into a site, adding to a database, something like that. Every time we log in, purchase items at an online store, perform a search, we are using forms. We are always using forms. And one of the very popular form is in front of you over here. You see that we have got a form over here, Google form, where whatever you write down, it just brings up that information, right? So if I just search something like this, it will be just giving something like that. So basically, what is that? This is our one of the form that we use. So forms are very important, and we look at these forms lots of times on our web pages. So let's talk about that Seneca websites form that we have seen. Seneca College. I'll just go to their the Seneca site, and then I'll show you this form that we are talking about. So here is one form over here. This form is taking what? This form takes some input, anything, and it comes back with what? With our with the searched items. As I said, if I write web222 and I go click on that search item, you will see that it will bring up some search over here, and that search is basically in front of, like, presented over here, like Google or something. Let's inspect this one. Let's inspect this one and try to find out this form, that form which is being used. And one way of finding the form is what? Go to your console. You know that we have got something very important, document, something very interesting, query selector, right? And if I write form here, I want to look for that form, right? So now it says that this is the form, and this form is being lying somewhere, which is saying ID is equal to search, action is equal to, and we'll talk about that. And class is equal to navbar. So don't worry about these long names as well with the classes. You know some of the things, but again, I'll try to make you understand most of the things. So this form is being residing somewhere over here. And this form, if I go to this search part or back, if I go back, and it's very much squeezed. And if I just select this one, the other way of finding out the form. So if you see that this is an image, with this image will be coming inside the form, which should be coming inside the form. Okay, let me just do that. So this is our form. I think on a low view, they have just hiding this form. They are hiding this form. You know that we have this media queries that I've worked on that, and you can just hide those things in front of that. Okay, so this one is the form over here. If I just select this one, you see that it is showing input, and if I just go forward, this is the form that we have. This is something that I want to discuss over here. You see that on every website you will find forms over there. Form ID is equal to search, action is equal to something, class is equal to something, role, style, display, and whatnot and whatnot. And there are some contents inside that as well. So first of all, every form can be given an ID, like say this one, and ID and name both are very important, because through which we recognize some of the HTML element on our web pages. So form is given an ID. The second attribute is very important. Action is equal to. What is this action in this form? Let me just tell you. What is the action? Let me just take this one out of it and show it. So what is this action? Action tells us what to do when the data is submitted. Action tells us what to do with the data when you submit it. For example, if I say /submit, it means whenever this form is filled and someone presses the submit, user clicks on submit, this form data should go to a page. That page is called submit. That page is submit. You getting that? Okay, let me just open up Visual Studio and I'll show you a few things in action. Okay, it's opening up. Let me just open up a folder. And this is our week 10. So I'll be opening week 10, and then we'll be working on that week 10 folder. Okay, 222, and this is week 10. Yes. Now we have got our folder here. All right. So now let's talk about this. So if I say, for example, if I say index.html, that we have done a lot of time, and if you want to make an HTML program, HTML file, I have given you the shortcut HTML:5, and you give a tab sign, so you will get all the document over here. And what we want to do over here is that we are working on forms, right? Are you people able to see my Visual Studio? Because I'm just taking in feedback so that everyone is with me. Are you able to see that? Oh yeah, okay, thank you. Right now, so as I said, that there is a tag called form. And what is action? Action, you remember that they have taken this action, submit. So if you do something like that, it means you are saying that whenever some user fill in that form, which is not there till now, fill in these forms and submit it, this data should go to submit page. If you are working in PHP, if you are working in ASP or something like that, you might have something like that, data.php. Are you getting that? If you basically give here the name of the file where you want to send this data to when the data is filled. So this is the one thing. And now since we are working in JavaScript, we'll be working in Express. So in Express, the way of sending data is like this. So it means that I want to, whenever this user submits this form, I want to send this data to submit page. Everyone is getting that? Now the other attribute, which is another very important one, is the method. There are two methods. You can see that. One of them is get and the other one is post. If you see, post. Can anyone tell me what are these get and post method? Because you should be familiar with that now. We have talked about that a lot time. Anyone can give me a definition of this get and post? What is this get and what is this post? Yes, anyone? I want answer. Yes. So get and post. Now what is this? Get method, as I said, when we use get method, the data goes as the part of the URL. If I say this get, so data will go as the part of your. I'll show both of the things today to you. And if I use post method, data does not go as part of our URL, rather it goes as the part of our body. So let me just write that in comments so that you have good idea of it. So get data goes as part of URL, like our address, right? And when we are using post method, post means data goes as part of body, not URL. You getting? Everyone is getting that? So basically, when you are sending data through the get, the first difference. Now the second difference, which is very important, which is with respect to the different APIs that are used. Whenever we use get method, we are asking something from the server. I need to have that thing. I need to have that thing. I need to have that particular resource. And whenever we are using post, we are just when we have to send data, usually we use that post method. So please bear in mind. Let me just remind you and let me just clear the few things for you people. When we are using those APIs to get something from the internet, we are fetching something from the internet, we use get method. Go and get this. And post method, as its name suggests, when I have to submit a form, when I have to submit a data to my form, so to some other page, I will say that I am posting that data. So at API level, if you see that API level, these are the two differences. But on our level, because we have just started our form and we are very new to this concept, so I'm giving you a very easy concept. When you send data through the get method, it will go. So it means both get and post will send the data. I hope you are getting that. Regardless of, yes, as I said, that when you talk about an API level where you are interacting with a website, you are saying that I need some resources, you will say go and get these resources and you will send data by using the post. But here what I'm saying is that on this level, what I say, searches and posts for things like posting comments. Yes, exactly. You can say that, but please bear in mind what I'm saying right now, that for the forms purposes, you can use both of the methods. So for the form purposes, if you use the get method, this data will go as part of URL of query string. It will be called as query string. You got, and if you are sending that data by using the post method, you are not making it part of the URL, rather you are sending it as a part of your, can you complete my sentence? As a part of your, when you are using, yes, body. That's very good. Thank you very much. So you got it? So again, for the time being, you just keep in mind that get data becomes part of URL, post data does not become part of URL. This is the point that you need to just remember right now, and I'll talk about that separately more. So you see here, data ID is equal to, so form ID, there is an ID being given to a form, and then action is equal to submit. I want to submit this data to submit page, by the way, and method is equal to post. Everyone understand this because this is important, and I'll just move forward after everyone has responded. Only few people are responding today. Yes, thank you. You are always responding. Other than you, that's good. That's good. That's good. So form, action, where to send, method, how to send. You just keep in mind. Method, action is where to send data, and method is how to send data. So submit has only the pages. Okay, I'm not getting your, I'm not making sense of this sentence, but anyhow, action has only. Oh yeah, so only the pages, or sometimes you want to send this data or you want to keep that data on the page. So it means that it would be, you will be just using some of the method where form data will be stored on that typical page. You got it? So yes, that is the point. Okay. So forms, you see here, forms action attribute defines URL where the data should be sent when submitted. In case submit really means send this data to the same web server as the page was served from, and to the submit route. Sometimes you will have action is equal to hash to indicate that the form is to be processed in the browser but not sent to any server URL. So you see, if you are mentioning a hash over here in action, it means that the form is to be processed by the browser. Here it will be processed. It won't be sent to anywhere else if you are using a hash over here. Now the method tells us the browser which HTTP method to use when submitting the data to the URL defined in the action. By default, this will be get, and all form option will be sent as a query string values to the URL. When submitting a lot of form data, we can also use post, which will include information in request header. I'll just let you know after discussing one of the element. One of the element, very popular element of a form is input. And let's take this one, not take this one, rather we can create our own. Right. So come here and let's create something inside it. I will write input and press tab. Input type is equal to text. Okay, I'm okay with it. And I want to say name is equal to name, whatever, or f name, so that it makes a difference. ID is equal to f name again, something like that. And I have just made this one. And let's do something. Before that, let me write a name here. Right. So I'm just mentioning this. Let's run this one, and I'll show you what is going on. Just run this one. Oh, I'll tell you, there are lots of other types of inputs. I'll tell you each and every one. Don't worry. I'll tell you each and every one. Okay. Right. So you see here that this is the page that is coming. Let me just make it this page over here, and so that I'll just show you something very interesting. This one I'm keeping here, and I'll keep this one over here alongside, so that we can see both of them like we have done before. Like so. Come here and sit here. Okay, so input type is equal to text, type is equal to and I'm using one another because I want to show you something. Input and type is equal to text, not text. I want to use input type is equal to submit. Just use a submit and use a value attribute. Value is equal to send. Even write send data so that we can see that. I'm showing you the complete code. So what I've done, I've just used another. Let me just remove this comment, right? Or maybe just take it out from here and place it somewhere else so that it does not make any confusion for anyone. Now, if you see here that we have got form action is equal to submit, post, name is equal to input type is equal to text name, f name. So we have basically done what? We have created two input box. So as someone was asking, what is the another type of input? One of them is here. Type is equal to submit. Submit will create a submit button. If you see here, that submit button has appeared. Now, what I wanted to tell you, I'm using a get method. Get, right? I'm using get method. And let's place a name, Alan, over here and press send data. Okay. How many of you feel or experience what is going on? Can anyone tell me what is going on in my document? Yes, can anyone tell me? Where do you find this Alan? Yes, where is that? It is in my URL. You see, in URL and after question mark. Now, do you people remember this query string that we talked about in the very first class of our course? Do you remember? We talked about query string, question mark, name, key value pair. F name is equal to Alan. You remember? We talked about this query string. So when you use get method, the data goes as the part of URL. But if you use post method, Now I'm using the post method. Save that one. Enter a value, ln, and send this data. Okay. It is showing that cannot post. Of course, there is no posting for value to post on. But do you see my URL? Yes. So URL says nothing. Like there is no data inside. Let me tell you a very interesting fact. If I use get method, save this, and I'm using another field. You know, there is another field called password field. Input type is equal to password. Input type is equal to password. Use that. And for example, I'm not giving anything else right now. Or maybe, yes, I should give a name. Why should I give a name? I'll tell you. PWD. I'm just giving a name of PWD. Right? So I'm sending a password as well. And write down password as well here. Right? So password. So now you save that one and now you run that. Let me just run this one. So you see that here we have, oh, I've written down password twice. Very bad. Okay, so now if you run that, you see that name and password. So if I enter a name, Alan, and password ABCDEF, right? I have just entered a password. Password text box always displays this asterisk or rounded circles. It never shows you the right password. You have experience of that. Now, if I send data, let me show you something interesting. You see my URL address bar? Can you people see my address bar? It has that F name is equal to Alan, and it has that password is equal to in its original form. There is no crypto like encryption being implemented. Why? Because I have not given any encryption anyhow. So it's basically just showing me that PWD is equal to ABCDEF, and this is showing me the password. Why? Because I was sending it by what method? By the post method. Now, if I change, get method. If I change this method to the post method, the first benefit that I will get is what? Let me just tell you. Refresh that and just delete that one. And I don't want a question mark as well. And I wanted to just to refresh. Okay, so now this is my server, and I said Alan. Sorry. Alan, and password is 1 2 3 4 5 6, and I send my data. Do you see data anywhere? No. And what is that? It is the post method that we have used. Right? So this was, I was just giving you a bit of sense of how we can just create a form. Form can be created by using this input type is equal to something, which usually give us what? Which usually give us the, the sense of what, that you can create different types of inputs over here. You can just create these type of inputs and things like that, and they will be just working for us, and we will have these passwords and things like remaining. Right? So this is a form. If I just come back over here, form can have multiple fields, and if you see our Google search, like if I just go to the Google search and show you the form. Okay, this is our Google form. Let's go to its inspect and see what is going on. Okay, so do you see the form here over here? Form action is equal to, so it means Google, when we search something, Google sends our search item to the / search page. There is a search page that Google has, and Google sends that data to the search page. You got everyone? Now method is equal to get. It means that the Google is using a method is equal to get, and that shows also. How does it show? Let me just write anything. Seneca Blackboard, for example. And if I enter that, so you see that you find Q is equal to Seneca Blackboard, right? Search Q equal to Seneca Blackboard, and there is lot more padding over there, but we are not concerned with that. Right now we are concerned with that. Do you see Q is equal to Seneca Blackboard? Or maybe whatever you want. If you want to search cat, for example, you say cat. So you see search equal to Q equal to cat. So what is that? It's basically doing what? It is using, the Google is using, if I go back to the Google search, and if I see that Google is using this form, and it is sending its data to the search page, there will be some search page for the Google, and they are using the method is equal to what? Get. They are using the get method over here. And rest, there are lots of things that you can see here. For example, there are certain fields There are certain styling being applied over here. So there are lots of things. If I come back over here, so you see that there are class is equal to something like that. So they've just given a default value. A value is input value is equal to I'm feeling lucky. So basically, if I can find that input value is equal to I'm feeling lucky, we need to find that out. Okay. So let's try to find out all inputs. Document dot query selector all, right? We are just finding out, and we are finding out input tags. If you see that it has come up with 9 node list. You remember we have talked about this. So these are the 9 node lists. So let's check which one is that one. This one, this says the Google search, the first input. You see, label is Google search. And let's talk about the others. The second one, I'm feeling lucky. This is the one which is showing I'm feeling lucky. Right? So there are lots of buttons that are doing that. So input value is equal to Google search, input value is equal to I'm feeling lucky. These are all the buttons, and there are lots of other things, but they have just taken out cleanly some of them. Name is equal to, source is equal to hidden. So all these are coming over here. And when you click on that search box, you see that search box is basically what? Max length is equal to 4, name is equal to Q. So it means that search box is basically this one. Are you getting that? And there is basically something called input name is equal to source and type is equal to hidden. So there are certain hidden files as well. Let's examine this one for a moment and try to understand what's happening. First, notice that all input control, that is search text box and both buttons, are grouped together inside a form. So they are all inside a form. The first thing to notice, right? The other thing, the form, they are together in the form element. Now, the form element has a number of attributes. So since we have seen ID, class, and others are new. So name is equal to F. Before browser standardized on using ID to identify elements, form used to have a name. So you remember ID and name both are usually used one way or other in the same way. But if you see the truest value, truest sense, it is that ID is there for recognizing something in our CSS and JavaScript, while as name is something that is used to recognize elements at the other page when you send them. You're getting that? So ID usually is something through which we recognize or we access something in our JavaScript code or a CSS code. But when you talk about name is a very important part, and name is recognized or name is understandable or name is read when you send your data. So you say before this name, like before ID was popular, we used to have name only, and name was used to identify everything. Right? So name will identify a form in the page. If there are multiple forms in your page, it will identify which name is the form is all about, and that name will be the form that will be working on that particular time. Right? Okay, so now if you see here, action is equal to search tells the browser where the data is form is to be meant to be submitted in case search. We are sending this to the search page, right? We have talked about this, and you will see that sometimes you'll use quick action equal to hash to indicate that the form is to be processed in the browser, but not sent to any server URL. It won't be sent to any URL server. And then you talk about a method equal to get tells the browser that HTTP get method when submitting this form. In this case, the amount of data being sent is small enough that it can fit every URL. So basically, please bear in mind, we talked about 2 methods. One of the method was get method, one of the method was post method. So one of the important thing about get method is that you can send limited amount of data. Why is that? Why is limited amount of data? You can send limited amount of data by using the get method. Why? Anyone? Why we can send that limited amount of data? Anyone? Query string can only hold so many characters. Yes, exactly. That's the point. That query string, because it is becoming the part of the query string and it is going as a part of the URL, so it has the capacity to understand or some capacity to accommodate few characters. So it will be. And again, the opposite to it. If you are using the post, you can send. Yes, can anyone complete that? You can send large amount of data here. Why? Because the data is basically going as a part of. Someone has already answered that. Body. The data will go as a part of the body over here. So that's why you can send any amount of data here that you want. Right? So then let's talk about methods equal to get. The form element that contains numbers of elements that represent form input control. Google uses the most common use of form control input to build the form, creating 3 different kinds of form controls. So 3 form controls have been done by using only input. And I'm telling you, there are lots of like user inputs that can be created, like fields that can be created by using this input tag, and then you have to just change your input type for something. Hidden input controls. Now, what is hidden input control? Input name is equal to source, type is equal to hidden, value is equal to HP, and input type is equal to something like that, type is equal to hidden. These are hidden form controls. Why? They won't be visible to the user, but allow for extra information to be stored in a value that will get submitted with the form. Think of these hidden controls as variables. In this case, Google is storing information about the fact that we are doing our search from the home page. Name is equal to source, value is equal to HP, and also including a special timestamp, something like this, indicating when this query was made up of. In both cases, the name and value attributes are used to indicate whether key value pairs in the form data. Do you understand why they are using that hidden form field? Let me just close this one. There are certain fields which are not visible. I am just able to see this one where I am writing cat, right? And after writing cat, I am just pressing an enter. So I think only this input box is going. But you know, there are 2 hidden input boxes which are going from behind. Can everyone sense that? And what they are sending, you know what they are sending? They're saying we are sending 2 types of things. One of the thing is that storing information about the fact that we are doing our search from homepage. So I am coming from the Google homepage. So it's sending one of the file, one of the input control that says that the source, or basically that the source is basically the top one from the Google it is coming, and value is equal to HP, and it is coming from the home page, right? And also including special timestamp, and also it is sending one of them as a timestamp. Why sending timestamp, Google? And hidden form. Why Google is sending a hidden timestamp? Other than some of the people who are already for answering to a lot. I need answers from those who have not said anything at all. Why they are sending a timestamp in the hidden field? First of all, first question. Why sending hidden text field as a timestamp? Timestamp, what is the benefit of sending time spent to Google? Anyone? Okay, anyone else? That's very good. Thank you very much. As I said, you are always very actively replying, and that's a very true answer. They record search trends. That's very good. Anyone else? They record search trends. Anything else? Track high traffic time. Okay, that's a good point. Anyone else? This will be the byproduct of that, right? Tracking high traffic time. But there are lots of other issues as well. Yeah. Anyone? Okay. So you know when your query returns the result, it has got the time with it. Have you seen that? When I say, for example, you see here that it says 0.93 seconds. Now, you know, if Google just quickly tracks when I am writing this cat, from the point when I write this cat, for example, cat API JSON I'm searching, and from the time it returns the result, how much time is taken? So it's 0.44 seconds. So not only finding out the high traffic time, and there are lots of things. And do they need to show that time over here? Do they need to show those input boxes over here? No, they are sending them as hidden. So it means that if I use a hidden text fields over here, so if I say input type is equal to hidden, right? I'm sending a hidden field, and name is equal to anything, right? So I'm sending this one as well. So will it be shown on my page? Anyone? Where is that page? Is that the page? So I cannot see that first field. Why I cannot see? Because I have defined as what? The hidden field. But the very important thing is that this hidden field, when I say send data, this hidden field value will go. Let me just show you something interesting. Value equal to hello hidden. I'm hidden or hiding. Hello, I'm hiding, right? And yes, let's use the method get. Let's use the method get. Refresh that. Okay, so now I'm sending Smith and password is ABC, right? And if I say send data, okay, it is still using the post method. Why? I'm using the get now. ABC, ABC, whatever. Oh, yes, now it is there. Do you see something interesting? What do you see now? Even though we are only sending these two fields, but do you see that their third field is also going? Yes, hello hiding in URL. And why this was hidden? It was not mentioned anywhere. So basically what it does is that it in Google, it is using this hidden field to send the timestamp and to send that where this search is coming from. You getting that? And in a practical online shopping website, what can you write in the hidden fields? You know, if you are bringing up the cost, the price of the product from the database, and for example, you don't want user to enter that, of course, you don't want user to enter that price, rather you will send that price by using hidden form control. Is everyone with me, other than these 2-3 people who are actively replying? You're getting why we can use this input hidden fields? That's very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, you are always replying. But again, other than this 2-3 people, thank you very much. Okay, so now come here. So there are some hidden fields. Then we have text input control. Input class is equal to something like this. Name is equal to q, type is equal to text. So if you have defined a type is equal to text, you will always get something like this. Type is equal to text will represent a text box. And then later on we can use CSS to just to just make it more beautiful. But again, right now it will just show this one. Okay, so if you see here that type is equal to text will generate text. As we discussed above, all input element need a name attribute to uniquely identify the value. In this case, the name is q. Short for query is there is no defined value. And since the user will provide it, also note that user max length 2048. So max length is another attribute. There are lots of attributes that we can use. And one of the attribute, very important and interesting attribute, is required. If I just write down something called required over here, required. Now you see what happens. If I just empty try to send this, you see this HTML5 has given us this very cool required attribute that if you write in that, so it, for example, if I write something and send, so you see password is going blank, but name is not going blank. You see why name is not going blank? Because name is being basically done what? Required. Name has been required by us. Right? So these are the few values that we have. And then let's talk about the rest of them. And then we have submit button. So if you want to create a submit button, input value is equal to Google search, name is equal to blank. If I just take this one, you will see that we will have a very interesting one. If I just use this one in front of in place of my own button, where is that? Type is equal to text submit. Yes, this one. Let me just remove that and write that one. I'm just using the Google one. If I do that, and you see here, of course, you know that what will be happening. Now the Google search button will be coming over there. You see Google search, right? So of course, this is the button that we have used. So Google button. So type is equal to submit, and there. Okay, from where please fill out this come from? Yes, where this come from? This is a very good question. So now what happens is that let me just tell you. If I just take out this required, now please notice over here. If I take out this require, and if I say both of the fields are empty and I want to send them, it will go. It will work. But if you give it required like attribute and save this one, and now you want to run that one. Now if you want to run that one and you search that, it will say the. So this is HTML5 has provided us this facility of having an attribute required. If you put in that required, it is doing that validation that we'll talk about. Validation is a very important topic. One of the type of validation it is requiring over here. You got the point? Fill out this form come from. Okay, right. So that's very good. So now let's talk about something else. So now if enter some text in text box, cat pictures, click Google search, submit button, submit the form back. We have just talked about that this will be going from this type to the other. Form to example, my Seneca login is over here. Our second example is well-known Seneca student login, myseneca.ca. So this is a form that has been mentioned over here. And here is a simplified version of this form. They have just taken out this form over here to just show you. But again, since there is no CSS, so this form will be appearing in a very odd form. But let me just show you. And I will just replace my form with this one, or maybe I will just make it a comment and I'll just write down that form. which they have used for the Seneca one. So if I save this one and if I run this form, so okay, yes, so this is username and password. The same form again, as I said, there is no CSS, so of course it is basically just showing that particular thing. So what it is doing, it says that form action is equal to web apps login. It means your Seneca always takes your data when you log in your user and password. It takes your data to web/login. Method is equal to post. It uses a method is equal to post, and the form name is login. Right? So label, we'll talk about label. I've talked about that, and later on I'll talk about that. Input ID is equal to user ID, text you name. So this is first goes. This is which is some size. There is some max length to it. And if you see here that autocomplete is off, I have talked about this autocomplete shortly. As I said, I'll talk about that. And then we have these input type is equal to entry login, type is equal to submit. So we are making this submit button, and we are using these hidden fields. This hidden field says action value is equal to login, and type is equal to hidden, name is equal to new location, value is equal to nothing. So we are just sending these two forms from here, which will be just used in the other form. So this does many similar things to Google search form. Let's focus on the differences. So for this item, you use label. So what is that label? Label is a very interesting thing. Label, other than giving this name as something like this, as I have given in my form, I have just given this label name like this, name this like this. But we don't want to do that. Rather, what we want to do is let's create another form. So we'll have these two forms here. So and place an HR in between, right? So HR is a horizontal ruler line. So you see that these two forms are separated from each other. So now a very important thing, that if you just give this label against of this name, for example, if I say label for, here I have to give the name or ID of that field for which I am making this label of. For example, if I say F name, right, and write down name here. Now there is a slight difference between this name and that name. I'll show you. You see here, this one is my form. I have made this label now, and this is not a label, right? Remember, this password is not a label. This one is a label. So you see, if I click on it, I get my cursor inside that. Now, if I click on this one, I get my cursor inside my box. Now see here, if I click on this one, I get my cursor inside that. But when I click on this password, do I get my cursor inside? No. Why is that? Or why it is giving me cursor inside? Why it is not giving me cursor inside? Anyone? Because label has been created for this ID, and this label is making its effective area bigger one. And this password is not mentioned as a label. Rather, this has been just mentioned as a text form. Are you getting that point? And let me just make this password as a label as well. Label. Now, I would like to ask you that what ID should I write? PWD. But am I using this ID over here? No. Remember, you have to use this ID over here if you want to connect that to that one. Are you getting that? Let me just put up that label over here. Save that and now run that. Now, if you click on this one, password is selected. If I click on this one, cool. Do people understand, everyone? Yes, exactly connecting. And let me tell you a very interesting thing. You will now understand it very quickly. If I say label for equal to, rather than writing this, let me write down F name by mistake. Rather than making it as a, the connecting it with the password, I'm connecting it with the F name. You see what happens? You can understand. What is going on? What is going on? Can anyone tell me? Password selects name. Password takes the cursor inside the name. That's very good. I hope now you understand the concept of this one. Label. Understand label? So it has to be, the for has to be the right ID. Yes. So now for has to be the right ID. PWD. So PWD means now you can. Okay, I have not saved that. Save this one, and now if I refresh it, so you see, if I click on password, this will go inside that. If I click on name, I will go inside. Isn't that cool? Yes. So you see some of the websites, they just give you these type of things. Makes sense. That's very good. That's very good. Okay, so we will just talk about few other things as well, but right now, as I was just making this one, I thought I will be just sharing some interesting parts with you. I'll be just continuing with this one, and I'll discuss few other things as well. But right now, and this is the part of our class directly. I shared 3 links before that, but they were not directly the part of our class link. But now what I'm sharing is this will be a very good practice of forms, as well as the practice of CSS, and later on I'll share with the Bootstrap as well. So you see, Control C. Now these 2 links that I have shared are the part of today's lecture. This is the video links, and I might share this file with you. These 3 were, again, for your practice purposes, that expanding panel link, right? Expanding panels link, which is not mandatory, but these 2 are part of our week 10 lectures. You got it? I'll share this text file with you people. Got everyone? Now, what is in those 2 files? Are you able to access that? First of all, let me know. Are you able to access those 2 files? That's very good. That's very good. Andre, you are able to access that. Now I'm stopping recording.